Hello and welcome to Homeschool MBA, where we talk about different management, business, administration topics. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. So, the agenda today is framing and decision making. I have prepared a one-page slide which talks about framing and decision making. It talks about the definition of framing. How do we plan, begin and ask framing? What are some good practices, some traps to avoid? And what are the benefits of a proper frame? Hello, Professor, how are you doing? Let's talk about framing in decision making.
I'm fine, thank you. Okay. Framing in decision making. You have made a good slide. Framing actually, as you put it, answers what problem we are trying to solve. Our choices are influenced by the frame. You see, as far as solving the problem is concerned, if you understand the problem, its causes, symptoms, then it is half solved. And that definitely is influenced by the frame. It's like looking at a situation, whether that situation is in your favor or that situation is against you. The example that you are giving, half glass full or half glass empty. Now, when we say half full, it is optimistic people who call it half full. The pessimistic people, they look at the empty side and they say half empty. And if we relate it to decision making, the team involved in this can be influenced by this psychological thinking, whether it is half full or half empty. So that has to be kept in mind. Then state the problem. Now, what it is not, what the issues are, means identify the problem, its causes, its roots, symptoms, and future impact. Now, what it is not, that means that do not over exaggerate the problem, remain within the frame. What the issues are, remember the issues related with solving the problem and understanding the problems. Those issues must be considered, like whether you have really discussed the problem in a meeting or with your team, or you have used some analysis tools like Staple, MBO, or SWOT, etc., or not. Ask why is the problem difficult to solve, what factors are involved, who needs to be involved to make the decision. Now, this particular, let's say, area can be answered by MBO, management by objectives. That is the process in which you discuss and solve the problem and bring out various alternatives and you select the best one. Then we go to in this whole framing in decision making is the purpose, what we hope to accomplish by this decision. That is the outcome of the decision. What outcome are we expecting from this decision? Scope, what to include and exclude in the decision. Now that means that what do we want to include in this decision? Our gains and losses, or our giveaways or trade-offs, and exclude that what we should not do. So that's the kind of thing which comes under the scope. And then perspective or point of view about this decision, consideration of other ways to approach it, how others might approach it. Now, perspective is overall approach towards solving the problem. Whether you want to solve this problem in a, let us say, in a collective manner that you have to discuss is, or you want to solve it through certain directives and certain decisions that, okay, let's do this way and that's that. That will depend on the magnitude of the problem that you are solving. So, and in this case, you will have to remember the good practice and the traps to avoid. Good practice is, of course, take collective decision making, which means that you have certain pros and cons of the decision and then discuss it and bring out various alternatives like A, B, C alternative and select the best one for you. Traps to avoid is over exaggerating the problem, over committing to the problem, and putting in irrelevant factors in that decision. That must be avoided, remain within the frame. Then a proper frame, of course, prevents from solving the wrong problem, definitely, makes decision making easier and quicker. Naturally, when you have defined the problem, you have understood the causes, you have understood the symptoms, you have understood the reasons, now it is easy for you to solve it. Prevents from biases. Now, personal biases. Now, the bias here relates again to, let's say, half full or half empty. Those people who call it half full, basically they are pessimistic, and those who call it half no, those who call it half full, they are optimistic, and those who call it half empty, they are pessimistic. Now, half full people, they are very creative, they are strategists, and they believe in future, and they are proactive. Half empty, basically they are pessimistic people. They are very weak in planning and things like that. Now, that's what we mean by preventing from the biases. Role of manager is to keep appropriate frame, not too narrow, not too wide. That means that remain within the scope that you have determined to solve this problem. I think that's about what I can say about this framing in decision making.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I think one thing I would like to add is now that I look at this, the half full, half empty biases can also be like half full people could be overly optimistic, thinking that the problem is very easy to solve. So they might, get out of the frame. And half empty people might be thinking this is too difficult, and then they create too many options. And again, they do not make an appropriate frame. That's how I take the biases in this as well.
In a way, you are right.
Yeah.
In a way, you are right. But half full, let's say optimistic people, they are very positive, they are proactive, and they want to solve the problem. Half empty, they are pessimistic, they are negative, and they are weak in planning, and they are rather than being proactive, they are reactive. So it's better to be proactive than to be reactive. So therefore, I may agree with you what you said. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like and subscribe to all our social media. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.